Hey everyone, welcome back to Mr. Holland's Classroom, where today we're going to be doing day 2 of lesson 78, where we're talking about or. I know it sounds the same, it is the same sound, just a different spelling pattern. So we are going to start by reviewing that spelling pattern. We've talked about R controls before. We actually did a lesson, in lesson 82, we actually reviewed most of the R controls. This is the other one though, but AR says R, like arm. And OR says or, like orange. But it is spelled like OR, which can be in the middle, like fork, and orn. But also it could be at the beginning, like we said with orange, or orb. Or you might play with Orbeez, you might know what those are. It also starts with OR. And OR can come at the end. Like a lot of our, we have high frequency words that do that, like for. Or is another high frequency word. So there's that. ORE also makes the or sound, but we see it at the end of a word, or at the end of a syllable, I should say, like more and store. It can also sometimes be in the middle. We've talked about very rarely though. Usually with an ED you might see ORE, but it still says or, it makes the or sound. So or can say OR or ORE. So let's read all together. Form, story, more, before. Oh, there was an open syllable there. But anyway, we're moving on to our word. So my friends have their boards. They're going to take their marker caps off now so that we can play around with this spelling pattern. So let's start first. Usually I use these Alconin boxes to kind of break apart the word, so follow with me. We're going to start with horn. H, or, horn. I'm going to change that to black, okay. So we have horn, now we're going to change it to corn. K or Is it a K or a C? Okay, well, let's take a look. K takes I and E, and that's not I or E, so C takes the other three. Very good. Okay, change corn to cord, like an electrical K or D. Okay, now we're going to change cord to core, like an apple core, K or. But wait a minute. There's no other sound at the end. It's just K or. That's right. That's where the E comes in. I can put the E here, or I can put it there. K or. That's where it's at the end. There, the E comes at the end, makes the O say O. It's all that stuff. Now let's change core to more. Or. Or. Change more to tore. Like I tore a hole in my pants. T or. Change tore to sore. I am so sore from my practice yesterday. Or. You might be thinking, oh, like an eagle soars. Actually, that's a different spelling. We're not talking about that right now, though. All right, so soar, change soar to sort. S or t. Oh, now there is a sound at the end, so get rid of that E and add the T. S or t. Okay, now change sort to short. Sh or t. Great. Now we're going to change short to port. P or t. P or t. Very good. Now we're going to change port to fort. Or t. Or t. Last one. Change fort to fork. Or k. Is that a C or K or CK? Well, we know CK comes after a short vowel sound. This is not a short vowel sound. This isn't, we would call this a controlled R vowel. So this is a consonant, so it would be K or K. Great job. Quietly erase your boards. Click your marker caps back on. We're going to move on to our, well, we already did word work. We're working with our irregular words. Some of them call sight words, some of them you call heart words. I like referring to them as heart words because they are words that we need to know by heart. They don't have regular spelling patterns. That's why they're irregular, means not regular. All right, let's review. Ready? What does this say? Four. What about this? Fourth. This says O-R sound too. Or. That's what makes it a heart word, because O-U-R, we know this as hour, but it's not fourth. This makes an O-R sound. That's why we need to know it by heart. Four and fourth. What about this? 4T. Whoa, that's not a heart word. That's not a heart word, because this actually does make its right sound. Why do they have it here? Because usually what happens is when we try to, how do you spell 40? We usually look at this. Well, you can't see it up there, but we usually look at our number 4, and we know 4 is spelled F-O-U-R. So what people do is they spell it F-O-U-R-T-Y, but we don't. You don't need to do that. This actually makes the right sound. The number 4, that one doesn't make the right sound. So that's why we need to know 4 by heart and not put T-Y at the end, because that would be four T. So fourth does not follow the rule, 40 does. What about this one? People. People. You don't even hear the O in it. You just hear P like it's a long E sound, but this is not a long E spelling. That's why we need to know it by heart. What about this one? Pretty. This is a schwa because it says it, but I says it, not E. That's why we need to know it by heart. So real quickly, what does it say? 4. What about this? 4. What about this? 40. What about this? People. Okay, good. Let's do the teaching. So I only have one word for you. Nothing. The reason why it's an irregular word is because this says n-uh. What says You. But it's spelled with an O, which means it's a schwa. Very good. The rest of these follow their rules and ing. Nothing. But we don't say it no thing. It's nothing. Say nothing. Nothing. Great job. Now let's move into our connected text. So girls, read with me. The bad storm tore up the shore. Oh, just like those hurricanes recently. Boys, I love to sit and do nothing on my porch. There's our irregular word, nothing. Well, love is irregular too. But anyway, everyone, we ate pork and corn for lunch. Sounds good. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read this first part. Marvel at the shore. Corey and his horse, North, traveled to the shore. Corey held on to North's mane as North galloped across the sand. They arrived at the shore before anyone else. There had been a storm at sunset, so this morning the shore was at a marvel. Now, if you have time in your class, what you can do is pause the video, and then you can have an activity where you try to count how many or spellings are in this passage. That might be something to do in your class. We don't have time for that right now, so we're going to move on. Boys, read this with me. There were hundreds of starfish along the shoreline. The starfish got pulled to the shore in the storm. They were so pretty, but if they were left on the shore, they would dry up. Corey jumped off North's back. Girls, read this with me. He picked up starfish one by one and placed them back where they came from. Corey was happy he could transport the starfish back home. Give yourselves a round of applause, pat on the back, kiss on your brain. We will see you next time. Bye, everyone.